Listen up. If you're not using waterfall charts, you should be. If you are using waterfall charts, I guarantee you are wasting time building them. I know that I was until just a few weeks ago. So wherever you are in your charting and waterfall journey, I'm here to help you do it faster and better. Hey everyone, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Mike. I am the Chief Finance Nerd at F9 Finance, and for over a decade, I've worked at companies in finance from the Fortune 100 all the way to brand new startups. And over that time, one of the biggest tools I've used are waterfalls. Now, we used to build these things by putting stacked bar charts and having an invisible stack in there. If you've done it, you know what I'm talking about, or using technology like ThinkCell. But what I just discovered is that in Office 365, they've added a waterfall button. And the reason I'm telling you about this is I asked 10 different people at work, and nobody knew that Excel will now automatically create waterfalls. It's so easy, and it's taken an hour or two long process down to maybe 5 minutes. And that's the process that I want to share with you today. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single one of our videos. I post a brand new video every Monday, and I post short videos every single day of the week. And hey, make sure to stick around to the end because I'm going to give you a free resource that will take your waterfall and charting game to the absolute next level. And hey, make sure to stick around to the end because I'm going to share with you a resource that will take your charting and waterfall game to the next level. So with that, let's get started. I'm going to take you through the new way to build waterfall charts that doesn't require any specialized software or manipulating graphs in crazy ways to create your waterfalls. Now, if you're not familiar with waterfall charts, let's talk about when you would use a waterfall chart. Waterfall charts are used to visualize changes in data that involve both increases and decreases. So let's say you start over here, you'll have maybe your prior year actuals, you want to go over to your current year actuals, which are hopefully higher, but it was kind of a lumpy road. We might have, cost of sales are up from volume, we might have your revenues down a little bit or up, you might have some changes in labor and other expenses, and those are all going to waterfall to your performance this year. You can also highlight how individual components contribute to a total change. Now that can look something like lines on the P&L, revenue, cost, or it can look like drivers in your business that move the needle. If you're working through budgeting or different kind of spending categories, you can use this to break that down and show how that's allocated and how it changes the budget. And you can also do it to show the step-by-step impact of sequential data and how things change from one point in time to another. Waterfall charts are an incredibly useful tool. And from what I've found, they're a great way to take profit and loss or income statement data and help your business partners understand it visually. It's just a lot easier for people to read. You still have the numbers there, plus you have the benefit of an easy to read chart. All right, that is enough time in PowerPoint. Let's get into Excel and let's start working. So what I've got here for our example is AT&T just reported their Q3 earnings a few weeks ago. So I've pulled that down. That gives us a really nice data set to work with, all laid out in kind of an income statement format. So let's see what we've got here. Probably the best place for us to start is going to be on the income statement. This will give us a really good kind of starting and ending point. We're going to look at how Q3 this year performed versus Q3 last year. So let's go ahead and go in here and just hide everything we don't need, make it a little bit easier. And then we're going to set up a chart where we're going to do our waterfall. We'll move this over here and we will call it waterfall. All right. So now the very first thing you want to do is you want to set this will be our prior year, and this will be our current year. All right, so these are going to be the nominal values. So here's our prior year. We want to do this on operating income, so let's do that right there. Ooh, it looks like we made a little bit less money this year. And our current year. Okay, so we fell from 52.71 down to 21.16. So for the totals, these are going to be the nominal values, okay? So for this, now we're going to do the pluses and minuses. We're just going to show the incremental change. So let's do this just on the P&L line items. We're going to do our revenue. What else do we have in here? Let's see, cost of revenue. Let's just make this one real simple. All right. And other expenses. Okay. So now we are set up for our waterfall and to explain how we went from 5271 down to 2116. So first of all, we've got our revenue difference. So again, this is not going to be the nominal value. This is going to be the difference between the two. So let's do this year minus last year, always new minus old. So our revenue was down. Let's come in here and do our cost of revenue. We've got two lines, equipment and other. And we'll do that minus the same here. All right, so then our cost of revenue is down. So that makes sense, right? Our revenue is down, so less cost of revenue. Looks like the margin actually improved a little bit there. And then let's do our other expenses. So this will be the same thing. We have a couple lines to pull in. SG&A, impairments, and depreciation and amort. And then we'll do that. Same thing over here. All right, so in theory, those should do this. Now, something that I like to do is we'll come down here and put a check, and we want to make sure that our waterfall ties out before we do it. All right, so we're going to do the sum of these minus this. What I'm saying is all of these adjustments should equal 2116. Now, as you're building this, it's really critical that you watch your signs, okay? So right now, just pulling it straight and using the variances, we've got the wrong signs. Revenue is showing negative. That's correct. Revenue went down. That lowers profitability. Cost of revenue went down. That actually increases profitability because it's less expense. So I need to reverse the sign on this one. Other expenses went up. That lowers profitability. So it's really critical that you watch your signs on revenue and expenses because it's not always just going to be a straight pulling from the P&L. And now you'll see that our check is tied out. And that is why we love checks. All right, and now it's time to build our waterfall. So again, we used to do this in all kinds of crazy ways, but here's all you have to do. Highlight your data set. Go to Insert. The waterfall chart button is hiding right here. Again, I asked 10 people and nobody knew that this had been added. We're going to hit waterfall right there. And there's our waterfall. Now, you might be saying, well, this isn't waterfall and the current year's messed up. So what you have to do is you have to set as total. All right, so we're going to right click here. This is already set as total. All right. So to set as total, you have to go to your totals. So prior year is 1. We need to double click so just that one is highlighted. We're going to set that as total. You'll see the color changes. And now here's when it will really start to look like a waterfall. We'll do the same on the current year. Set as total. And now you see it's walking. So down, up, down, and we're at 2116. And we already see that Excel has gone ahead and made different colors. So we've got the red colors are taking us down and the blue colors are taking us up. Now I'd probably flip this to green, but there you go. And then from there, you just format the chart like you would any other chart. Amazing. So this is great, and this lets us understand how we got from prior year to current year. But now we need to understand what happened in the current year. And for this, we're going to use one with kind of an intermediate step, like I mentioned, where we have more than one total. So for that, we're going to look at gross margin as kind of a step between the starting and the ending point. So let's do that. We're going to make a copy of this. Never want to lose the work we've done. All right, and now we're going to start and walk from our revenue, and we're going to walk down to our operating income, and we want to have a step in there for gross profit. Okay, and now here we're going to use the nominals to start, and then we'll go to the variances. All right, so here's our revenue. Here's our cost of revenue, and that leaves us with our gross profit. All right, we're going to set this as a total. So you see this table is not quite footing because we didn't reverse our signs. Remember, that's what we talked about before, that we need to reverse the sign so that the cost of revenue deducts from revenue. Then we're going to set what our operating income is. Okay, our operating income is here. And we'll want to just pop another line in here so we can look at the types of expenses and how they're impacting us. And everything here is going to be negative because it's deducting. So we'll just pull these titles in. No reason to do the typing. And then we can just go right down the line. Just do a negative sign again. And we're going to pull that right down. And now this is a waterfall of how you got from your revenue to your gross profit to your operating income, and again, having multiple totals. Now you could put 10 totals in here. I usually like to stick to no more than kind of the start, end, and one intermediate one, because again, the goal here is to story tell more cleanly, and we don't want to do anything to really mess up with that. And this is really it for waterfalls. It truly is that easy now that the functionality has been built straight into Excel. I cannot tell you, especially earlier in my career, how much time I spent building these waterfall charts with all these stacked bars and having to do all this complicated math, but now it really is this easy. Just give Excel your starting ending points, maybe an intermediary point or two, and then the variance or change between those points. So incredibly easy, and I'm so happy to be able to share this fast tip with you. And now I promised you a special resource, and I am so excited to share with you something that will really take your charting game to the next level. As I mentioned, the point of charts isn't to throw as much data out there as possible, it's to tell a story. And to tell a story, you need to have frameworks. And that's why I want to give you my free guide to the 5 storytelling frameworks that will work for any finance presentation. These are the frameworks you can use for how you want to lay out your charts and your waterfall chart specifically to tell your business partners a story and really bring data to life. If you go down to the description, you'll find a link. You can come over here, get your free download. I'll send it to you immediately. And I'll also send you my weekly newsletter every Thursday, Finance Unfiltered, where I share a lot more advice like this, in addition to some finance career hacks and automation strategies to save you time at work. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Also, leave me a comment and let me know if you have any questions about waterfall charts or how you can use these waterfall charts in your job going forward. I read and respond to every single comment. That's it for today. I'll catch you in the next video. Until then, this is Mike signing off from F9 Finance. Cheers.